Namaste, welcome to my channel. My name is Kassandra and I'm going to take you through a really grounding yoga practice that focuses on the root chakra, the Muladhara chakra. So this has to do with themes of safety, security, grounding, belonging, and truly our relationship with the physical world. And I don't know about you, but this year has left me feeling quite ungrounded, and this whole idea of feeling safe in the world around us has been uprooted in a lot of ways, but our yoga practice is one tool that we can really turn towards to reconnect and rebuild that relationship. So getting on our mat to really focus on our own internal sense of safety, belonging, and groundedness. So a lot of the poses that we'll be doing are going to be close to the earth and working on the backs of the legs, into our feet, our ankles, a little bit into our hips as well. So open to all levels, no props required, but if you have blocks at home, it's always a good idea to have them close by in case you want to use them. So I'm going to begin in Shavasana, lying down, probably the most grounding pose that we have. So take up space with your arms, with your legs. And you might close your eyes as you shrug your shoulders down and away from your ears. And tune in to your own inner world. How grounded and safe do you feel in this very moment? You might focus and internally visualize this root chakra at the base of your spine, like a cord that connects you deep into the earth, that nourishes you and provides you with stability. And you can visualize it as a bright red jewel. And glowing a little brighter with every breath that you take. Staying here for another 5 breaths. I love to work with affirmations. Some of you probably know this if you've practiced with me for a while. But to me, when it comes to the root chakra, the affirmation that I like to repeat internally to myself the most comes from Louise Hay. And it's just, all is well and I am safe. All is well and I am safe. And you can start to bend into your knees. Just pull them in towards your belly. Finding this little cocoon shape, which can be really nurturing and reassuring in times of unease. And we'll start to open up the backs of our legs a little bit. Bring your left foot flat to the floor and just straighten your right leg up any amount towards the sky. Please don't worry about having super straight legs here. It really doesn't matter as long as you're getting some intensity into your hamstrings, but also into your calves, all the way into your ankles. So see if you can flex your foot and then point through your toes and just alternate a few times like this. Soften your shoulders. Even relaxing into your jaw. Bend into that right knee and just switch sides, left leg up to the sky, stretching it out any amount. And same thing here, just flex and point. So in what ways do you feel the most grounded and secure and stable? And where in your life are you looking to cultivate a little bit more? Grounding, stability, belonging, safety. Release your left foot flat to the floor. With your feet hip-width distance apart, go ahead and squeeze your glutes and lift on up into your bridge pose. Hug your inner thighs in towards one another so you're not rolling over onto your little toes. Really activate and dig down into your heels as you drag them back towards your shoulders. Push into your upper arms to broaden through your chest. Take one more full deep breath here and very slowly roll down inch by inch. And we're just going to lift ourselves up, coming into a butterfly fold. So the soles of your feet can come together, knees apart. And I'm making this a very passive yin-like fold, so I'm not worrying about a flat back. I'm letting myself round, palms facing up to the sky. Especially because this is a Muladhara chakra practice. I find that working with poses that invite us to release and surrender is one way that we can really start to rebuild trust and to connect to safety and security in a healing way. So just a few breaths here. No tension in your neck. Bring some energy back into your hands as you push them into the floor to roll all the way up. And we'll come into staff pose, a really wonderful symbol of this root chakra. So with the entire backs of the legs fully grounded into the earth, go ahead and bring your hands by your sides and see if you can roll your shoulders back and push your hands into the floor. Dandasana, staff pose, slightly curling your toes back towards you. This should be an activating pose, so we're not just relaxing with our legs out. Push into your heels, push into your hands, push into your seat, lift up a little bit taller through the crown of your head. And then bring your hands back behind you a few inches, bend into your knees, push your feet into the floor, squeeze and lift up, reverse tabletop pose. And I like to tuck my chin to the chest a little bit. This is more appropriate for my neck. And release it back down. Cross at your ankles and we're gonna come into a little toe squat. So working deeper into the feet and into the ankles. Sitting back on your heels with your toes curled underneath you, you might need to move the little toe out if it kind of tends to roll under, which is very common. We're gonna broaden and open up our arms. Open like wings here as you spread wide through the collarbones. And then eagle arms, right arm wraps under the left, binding once or twice, and let yourself round and contract, dropping your chin towards your chest. Inhale, open up those wings once more, and we'll switch side with the eagle arms, left under right, round it in. Last big inhale here to open up and release. Point your toes back. That should feel really good. And start to bring your hands back behind you into your ankle stretch. Maybe see if you can lift your knees and your shins off the floor, opening up through your chest at the same time. Making our way to our tabletop pose on hands and knees. Palms under your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Draw your lower belly in, flat back. Reach your right foot all the way back out and just push into that heel. So stretching into the calf again. So big emphasis on the legs here in this class. Modified side plank, roll to the inner edge of your right foot and extend your right arm up to the sky. Stacking one shoulder over the other, maybe looking up to the sky if that works for your balance. And if you'd like to go a little further, you're going to float your right leg off the floor. So really working with some stabilizing poses. Ground into that left hand, left knee. And lower back down. Stretch your right arm up overhead. And we'll just switch sides, right hand down. Take that calf stretch first as you straighten your left leg, push back into your heel. And modified side plank, left arm up, maybe looking up. If you'd like to add on, this time float your left leg off the floor. Try to reach into that heel, getting at that same height as your hip. Left foot comes down, big side body stretch, reach your arm up and over. And release it down. Let's find our first downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Walk your hands forward, tuck your toes, and lift your hips up and back. And so here, think of curling up through your tailbone. And another wonderful pose to activate and feel the connection to the root chakra is our Ragdoll Fold. So we'll come into that next. Start to walk your feet forward. You can keep them quite wide. So stretching into the backs of your legs, you can bend your knees a little bit and maybe just sway a little bit side to side. And these forward folds are very symbolic of letting go, of releasing. So you might imagine yourself letting go of any stress, any insecurity or doubts, and really feeling your feet in the earth, feeling your own stability. Release your hands to the floor, bend your knees generously, and just roll up inch by inch. Really push your heels to support your low back here, until you rise all the way up. Tadasana, mountain pose at the top of the mat. Feet are hip width distance apart. Roll your shoulders back, shine your palms forward. So something that I really like to do when working on these themes is to work with eyes closed. So we're gonna take 3 rounds of sun salutations, just very classic sun salutes. And I would encourage you, if you can, to do this with your eyes closed so that you can really feel it internally and just trust that you won't fall, that you're capable of doing this, that it's, you don't have to be hyper vigilant in your transitions. And of course, if it's too much, keep your eyes open. So with feet hip width distance apart, you might close your eyes. Let's inhale, arms rise, palms come together. Exhale, fold all the way down. Halfway lift, flat back, inhale. Plant your palms, just step the feet back, plank pose. Exhale, lower. I'm gonna go all the way down for this first one. Cobra, push your feet into the floor, open your chest. Exhale, release, downward facing dog. Take a full breath cycle here in your downward dog. In through the nose and out. And since our eyes are closed, I would encourage just stepping to the top of the mat, finding your halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Press to stand, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands at the heart. 2 more rounds just like this. Inhale. And exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Plank. Maybe chaturanga, or you might stay low to the floor, making this even more grounding. Inhale, back bend. We all meet downward facing dog. Lift up and back for 1 full breath cycle. Reach back through your heels. Step to the top of the mat. Find a halfway lift once you're there. Exhale to fold. Press to stand. Hands at the heart. One more cycle. I'm going to be silent for this one. So just go at your own pace and we will all meet back in mountain pose just as we are right now. So whenever you're ready, you inhale up. And you should be somewhere towards the top of your mat. Take a moment. Tadasana, mountain pose with Anjali Mudra. And you might open up your eyes here. Let's all reach up one more time and fold all the way down. And simply step back into your downward facing dog. Lengthen out through your arms. We'll reach our right leg up towards the sky. Bend your right knee and open up your hip. Try to squeeze your heel towards your glute. Go ahead and straighten that right leg and roll that right hip down. Now you're going to step your right foot in between your hands to the top of the mat. But now go ahead and lift your left leg up. So a variation of standing splits. This is not really about folding down towards the floor. So you might stay up onto your fingertips. Think of rolling and dropping your left hip down towards the mat. And we're holding this for a few breaths. So really feel the activation through that standing leg and stay strong through your left leg as you reach out through your toes. So find your stability here. Coming into our chair pose, big toes together, heels apart. Drop your hips down, arms extend up to the sky. And we'll add a twist onto here. Join your hands at your heart. Exhale, left elbow towards your right knee. Look down. If your left knee is further than the right one, shift it back. Try to keep your hips lower than your chest. Come back up, chair pose. Press to stand. And let's bring our hands to the heart. Lean on your right leg for tree pose. Rikshasana, left foot to the inside of your right leg. However it might be appropriate to you here. Push your right hip in towards the foot. And this is another one where maybe closing the eyes can be a way to challenge our balance. Or you might just open up through your arms, growing the branches of your tree. Try not to dig your toes into the floor. Lifting up tall. Let's bring our hands together. Drop your left foot down. Widen your feet, heels in, toes out. Malasana into your squat. So your elbows can be used to press your knees open a little bit wider. Lift up through your chest. Reach the crown of your head up towards the sky. Into your boat pose, let your hips come down. I have a bit of a hip flexor injury, so this is a little too much for me, so I'm holding on to the back of my thighs, but you're welcome to keep your arms out. Roll your shoulders back, open up through your chest. Into our reverse tabletop, like what we did at the beginning of class. Push into your feet. Hands back behind you, squeeze to lift your hips up towards the sky. And try to keep your hips lifted off the floor as you now straighten your legs and send your hips back. And drop your hips down, staff pose, Dandasana, roll the shoulders back. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. And you might not be folding too much if the hamstrings are tight like mine here. And lifting up, cross at the ankles, vinyasa. Plank to chaturanga, cobra, or upward facing dog. We all meet downward facing dog. We're ready for our second side. Left leg rises, bend your left knee, open up that hip. Straighten and square that left leg, so feel that hip drop. And you're gonna step your left foot forward in between your hands. We're just here to transition, so you might wanna bring your fingertips out in front of you a little bit and kick your right leg up. Try to roll your right hip down. So this is not about getting the legs super high up. We're really working on our standing leg on the left one, more so than on the right one. Notice if you're rounding or slouching. Utkatasana, chair pose, big toes together, heels apart, arms rise. And we twist the left, hands at the heart. This time, right elbow over your left knee. Pull that right knee back. Inhale, back to chair. Press to stand, and we'll find our tree pose, Rikshasana, on the second side. So lean on your left leg this time. Go ahead and bring your right foot anywhere along the inside of that leg. Try to push that right knee open. So even though you might be wobbly, can you still connect to the earth? Can you still cultivate a sense of stability, of safety? From the root chakra all the way down. Your arms might open up if they haven't already. Lengthen up through your spine. Draw the floating ribs in. And let's release. Feet can go wide, heels in, toes out. Malasana, into your squat as you lower. Same thing here. You can use your elbows to press your knees open. Navasana, boat pose, any variation. Reverse table. Straighten the legs, keep your hips lifted off the mats. And drop it down, Dandasana, staff pose. Roll the shoulders back, push into your hands. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale to fold any amount. So I'm making this more of an active forward fold versus a passive one. Release to cross at the ankles, either going right away to down dog or taking a vinyasa. Let's find our Ragdoll Fold at the top of the mat again. Walk your feet forward and just let yourself dangle. Soft bend in your knees, not locking into the knees. All is well and I am safe. How can you get a little bit more grounded regardless of what happens around you? Release your hands down, bend your knees, come all the way up, inch by inch. And bringing our feet in, Big toes together, heels apart, hands at your heart. Chair pose again, Utkatasana, but this time as you hug in through your inner thighs, lean forward a little bit and see if you can lift your heels, stacking them over the balls of your feet. Hug in through your inner ankles. Wobbling is normal. Sink down a little bit lower. And release, come up. Lean onto your right leg, dancer's pose. Catch a hold of the inside of your left foot. Keep that left hip down so the thigh moves in, right arm forward. Start to push the foot in towards your palm. Trying not to dip your chest too much, making this more about a stretch and an activation into the quads and hamstrings, more than a back bend. And let's release, come back into that same variation of chair pose, sink it down low, and then maybe the heels lift off the floor. Hug in through your inner thighs. And release, dancer's pose, this time holding onto the inside of your right foot. Left arm forward, start to kick the foot into the palm in order to lift your knee and lift your thigh. Big breath in and let it go. Widen your feet a little bit. We're going to come down back into Malasana, and I'll give you a different option this time. So maybe you take this first one. It's a little easier with your knees wide and your elbows to the insides of the legs. If you'd like to go a little further, you're going to wiggle yourself so that you have your heels touching this time. And then you need to wrap your arms around your legs. See if you can hold onto your heels. And we're just trying to soften our way down to the floor. You know, sometimes I do this pose and my forehead just naturally touches the floor. And other days like today, I don't really know why, but it's just not happening. But it could be from this sense of like a lack of stability, lack of control. Notice how you can relax and surrender a little bit more. And just let yourself plop down. And we'll come back into that same butterfly fold we did at the beginning of class, passive once more. You can turn your palms to face up as you fold. See if you can relax even your belly. Coming all the way up. Let's find deer pose. Keep your left leg forward and bring your right leg to the side. So you want your right knee in line with your right hip. My shin is pretty much parallel to the longer edge of my mat. And as I press and roll that right hip down, I'm just walking my hands back behind, maybe coming down onto the forearms, getting a big stretch through the inner groin into the quads. Not here for too long. Go ahead and lift up. We'll switch sides. Might feel good just to take a little windshield wiper motion before we go and do deer on the other side. So this time your right leg is in front of you and you're bringing your left knee back in line with your left hip. Shin parallel to the long edge of your mat. Press that left hip down and choose the depth of the pose that feels the best to you here. There's really no need to go down on your forearms if it feels too intense. Be really mindful of your knees. Coming back up. That same windshield wiper motion again. And we'll take one last seated pose. We'll take a passive forward fold this time. So we've been doing a lot of active ones. This time with your legs out straight. Just let your spine naturally round. Again, palms can face up to the sky. Working on the posterior chain, soften your neck, the space between your shoulder blades, your mid-back, all the way down. And in this pose, we have the root Muladhara chakra connected and grounded to the earth. You might visualize the flow of your breath, helping you to cultivate whatever it is that you're looking for right now, whether you're looking for security, stability, patience, belonging. See if you can inhale to receive it and exhale to let it settle. 5 more breaths right here in the pose. Use the strength of your arms to roll back up. And you can bend into your knees, lower all the way to your back. Setting ourselves up for bridge pose again. Push your feet into the floor. Squeeze your glutes and lift up. Exhale to lower down and just take a few more windshield wiper motions with your knees here, dropping the knees and thighs to one side and slowly to the other. Feeling this release in your hips and in your lower back. And one last time, it might feel good to pull your knees to your belly. In this little reclined child's pose. Into Shavasana. Take up some space with your arms and your legs. Palms facing up towards the sky. And come back to a natural breath rhythm that supports you. Root chakra is deeply connected to the earth. So you might imagine yourself laying on the grass or on the sand or even in the dirt, getting that direct nourishment and support. Allowing yourself to rest here for a few minutes. And begin to deepen your breath and move a little through your fingers, through your toes. You might stretch and reach your arms up overhead. Rolling over to one side. Give yourself a moment to pause here. Push your hands into the floor. Come on up to take a seat. You might close your eyes when you're there. Anjali Mudra with your hands at your heart. Maybe imagining that cord, that bright red cord connecting all the way down to the center of the earth. So that no matter what happens around you, you are still connected, still rooted, still stable. We'll close with the chant of Om one time. Inhale to chant, big breath in. Namaste. Thank you everyone for doing this Muladhara chakra practice with me. I hope you feel a little bit more grounded and stable, and that your legs feel a little bit more opened up as well. Please leave me a comment to let me know how this went for you. And if you'd like to stay a little bit longer, this right here would be an excellent meditation to follow this practice up with. If you're new, please subscribe to my channel to be notified when I put out new videos, and hopefully I'll practice again with you soon. Namaste.